I slipped and fell while I was on a job site, but I work as a contract worker, not as an employee. I believe they do this just to keep me from having legal protections. Can I sue? Okay, Chase, so if I understand the question correctly, you're working as an independent contractor, you're on a job site. Of course you can sue if there's a basis to do so. Normally, when people are injured at work, their exclusive remedy in Florida is to proceed in the workers' compensation system. Years ago, the laws changed to provide employers with immunity from lawsuits from their employees if they get hurt, and the trade-off is that an employee can seek damages and get compensation through the workers' compensation system, even if it was nobody's fault or even if it was only the employee's own fault. So they do away with fault for the worker, they do away with fault for the employer, and the damages get paid for the worker without any sort of question. Now, in your situation is a little bit different because you're an independent contractor. What I would have to do, and what a lawyer would normally do in that situation, is determine whether or not you would fall under the category of what they call a statutory employee. Just because somebody says you're an independent contractor doesn't necessarily mean you're an independent contractor. Obviously, if people know what an independent contractor is, instead of getting a W-2, they get a 1099, and they have to be responsible for their own taxes and things like that. There's a basic setup for the independent contractor. But if you are working exclusively for somebody and they are telling you where to go and when to be there, and they're paying you, and you're wearing maybe a uniform that has their company logo on it, or you're driving one of their vehicles, there's a lot of different tests that can be looked at to determine whether or not you are a statutory employee. It's kind of like, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. It's the same thing with a statutory employee, and if that's your situation, then you may very well be entitled to workers' compensation benefits. There's a couple of industries that are required to have workers' compensation coverage, and construction is one of those. And so depending on the factors that I just talked about, you may very well be entitled to workers' compensation benefits. If you're not, if you are truly an independent contractor, you can still maintain a suit if you can prove negligence on the part of an individual or entity that created the condition or the hazard that led to your injury in the first place.